All right, my name is Steve Hammond, and today we have the privilege of sitting with Jack
Rakoczy.
Rakoczy.
Right.
Jack's got quite an interesting story to tell from World War II and other personal things that he'll go over, or will go over. And also, I'm here representing the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project. So anyway, Jack, we'll just get right into it. Tell me where you were born and when you were born.
I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, June the 15th, 1924.
Okay. And what were your parents' names?
I only had my mother. Her name was Lucille.
Okay.
My father, according to my grandma, my mother didn't want to get married.
Okay.
So that's as far as I know.
Sure. We'll leave it at that. Okay. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No, nobody.
No? Okay. All right. So did your mother raise you by herself?
No, my grandma raised me.
Okay. All right. And that'd be your mother's mother, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, on my mother's side, right.
All right. So
I went to school at Sacred Heart of Jesus School for 8 years. Then I went to Davis Tech Public High School for 4 years.
Wow.
And then I took some courses in metallurgy at junior college.
Okay. So you grew up in the Great Depression then, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Oh, it was tough. I mean, my grandma was a widow,
Mhm.
so she had a hard time, you know. Once in a while we'd be able to buy meat, and sometimes you wouldn't be able to get meat because you didn't have the money.
Mhm.
The only subsistence she had mostly was from rent, because she had two-floor home on west side on Watson Street.
Okay. So she was the owner, was she, or?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Okay.
She inherited that from my grandpa.
Because most veterans and with my family, they lived on farms, so they were self-sustained a lot. So how did you guys cope with that in the Depression?
Well, I guess we made it. I mean, maybe by the skin of our teeth, but I mean, you get to realize what a buck is worth now, you know, when you live through that.
Sure.
And then in the summer, when I was going to just starting high school, I worked picking strawberries. Out on, we had some farms around here, and they had tomatoes, peaches, strawberries, cherries. Mostly I picked strawberries and cherries in the summer, make a little money. Then when I got older, I worked at Robert Irwin Furniture Company on Fulton Street. I worked there 2 summers. And then when I graduated from high school, I got a job at the Pere Marquette Railway.
Okay.
And I worked there in August, from August of 42 to April of 43 when I got inducted.
Mhm.
And I came back to the railroad in March, I think, March of 46 to finish my apprenticeship, blacksmith apprenticeship.
Mhm.
And I finished it in 1948. Pere Marquette Railroad was sold to the Chesapeake in Ohio. And I got laid off in December of 49, but yeah, December 49,
Okay.
because she was PG with my boy.
Okay. Let's back it up a little bit more, back to the 30s, okay?
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
1942.
42, okay, high school. Now before that, you probably heard all the news about Europe and the Pacific before the war started,
Yes, I did.
with Hitler and Japan
Yeah.
and China stuff.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Well, at that time it didn't worry me because we weren't involved in it yet. Although Roosevelt wanted to get us in there in the worst way, I guess. I can't blame him. I read a good story about Churchill and Roosevelt, because Britain was almost on their knees, you know,
Sure.
in World War II. And I can't blame him for trying to help them, because, I mean, you know, the Nazis were the Nazis, you know, they're nasty.
Sure. They pretty much took over most of Europe.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Real quickly, too.
And then, especially how they treated the Polacks over there in Poland. They didn't like the Polacks. because that was the only country that fought back against them in World War II.
How did your family feel towards that? Obviously, I know the answer, but just tell them how they felt about when the Polish were taking over. Actually, they were hit from both sides by Russia and.
Yeah, right.
Just tell me how your family, if their comments
Well, I
about
guess it didn't bother us any. My grandma had some relation over there,
Uh-huh.
and she used to write them once in a while, but after that, she didn't get no more mail, so we don't know what happened over there.
You still don't know what happened to him?
No, we don't. No.
Okay. Okay, so now the beginning of the war in 38, or 39 actually, when they started it in Poland.
Right.
Europe was being hit very hard, being taken over. You know, England and even Russia got hit hard too, bad.
Yeah, oh yeah, they did. Oh, they lost a lot of people over there.
So you mentioned Roosevelt. Before the war started, did you think Roosevelt was the president we needed for the Depression and World War II?
I think so. I think he was. I
Okay.
think he got us out of depression.
Mhm.
Of course, the war helped a lot too.
Sure.
You know.
Mhm.
I mean, he had a lot of programs. He had the WPA, the PWA, Public Works, and the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of programs going. In fact, they built the Civic Auditorium here.
Okay.
The WPA did.
Hmm.
And they paved a lot of streets in Grand Rapids too.
Wow.
So I would think, to me, out of all the presidents that I lived through, I think him and Truman were two of the best.
No disagreement there. All right. Now we're getting to America's involvement in it. Where were you when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and where did you hear it from, and how did you feel?
I think we were playing football in John Ball Park. And when we got home, my grandma had an old radio, and everybody was, you know, all excited about it, I guess. That's when I heard about it. I turned on the radio, and a couple of days later, President Roosevelt gave that speech to Congress. Day of Infamy, I remember that.
Yeah, officially declaring war,
Right,
basically.
Yep.
One of the best speeches I've heard too.
Yeah.
What was the feeling in the area about America's involved in it? Was it like you said, they're excited, but were they really excited, or were they just?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Because being our age, the guys that played football, they're all eligible for the service, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my best friends, he went in the Marine Corps, and wound up on Guadalcanal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he make it back?
Yeah, he made it. He made it. He wound up on Iwo Jima, got shot in the butt.
Well, that happens.
He kept telling the platoon sergeant, I guess they were pinned down at that sand up there, and he kept telling the platoon sergeant there's a sniper up there. And there was a Japanese guy tied up the tree, and he's so goddamn skinny you couldn't see him. And he was the guy who was picking these guys off. They finally got him.
Wow. So anyway, that's a good story. So anyway, to get to your involvement, were you drafted?
Yes, I was.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, I took my, when I got the papers, I took a physical in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later, I think I was shipped to Fort Custer in
Okay.
Battle Creek.
Yep.
Then from Fort Custer, I went to Camp Perihan, Louisiana for basic training. Then from there, we went to Van Buren, Arkansas, was attached to the Missouri Pacific Railroad.
Oh, okay.
And we worked in the shops over there for a while. Then we were ready to go overseas. They sent us to Camp McConnell in Texas. I think we were there probably about a month or a month and a half. And then from there we went to Camp California, where we waited. We departed from San Pedro Harbor, I think it was December 6th or 7th, 1943, I believe, 44. I was only in basic training about 7 months.
Okay.
So, I mean, between here and Camp at Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay. Tell me about what your training was like.
It was kind of rugged, you know. We took rifle lessons and shot with them at Colt 45s, BARs. That was about it, I guess.
What's a BAR?
That's automatic rifle.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
Well, we had some guys shoot it and some guys didn't want to shoot it. So, but I got, when I was on the rifle range down Slidell, Louisiana, we had two or three positions that we took sharpshooter training, and they said that the prone position was the best. I did the best standing up. We got 9 out of 10 bullseyes.
That is pretty good standing up because you're unsupported, you know, and stuff.
Well, I used to do a little hunting around, you know, when I was a kid too. For my grandma'd get rabbits once in a while, or pheasants, you know. So,
That definitely helped you, didn't it?
yeah, I did. Yeah. Right,
So your training, you mentioned that you were part of, you were a blacksmith. Did you do blacksmith training in the military?
yeah, and with the Missouri Pacific Railroad.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, there were, we partnered with the people that worked there in the blacksmith shop. You know, made different things there. And over here, when I worked over here for Pere Marquette Railway, we used to make them great big connecting rods. You remember that, how they used to go?
Mm-hmm.
We had a Swedish blacksmith there, and he was really good at making that thing. They wouldn't have to machine maybe an 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch off of there to make them, you know, nice and polished.
And you basically it was civilian people in that area that you worked with. Okay, but you were still in the military.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But I got to know a few of them civilian guys. In fact, one of the blacksmiths over there invited me to his house for lunch. Well, actually, it was a dinner. So he picked me up at the base, took me to his house. I've never seen that in my life. He had a chicken there. He gutted the chicken, cut the legs off. He had a big fire there, a lot of embers.
Mm-hmm.
He wrapped that chicken in clay, put that chicken in that hot embers, took that chicken out, feathers and all come out in the clay, just the skin was left.
Wow,
I never seen that in my life.
I never heard that either. How'd the chicken taste?
Well, oh, it was real good, nice and juicy. That kept, you know, all the flavor in it. It
Wow.
locked it right up.
Man,
Yeah.
what? Did you ever keep in touch with him after the war?
No,
or-
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay. And where was this at? What state was it?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. He was from, God, I can't think of the name of that town. But a lot of them guys befriended a lot of GIs, you know.
Mm-hmm. And this was in what 1942? You said, or
Yeah, I believe it was 43.
Okay.
Yeah, down in, that was in Van Buren, Arkansas. And then we had our dental work done at Fort Smith. 14th and 16th Armored Division was there.
Mhm.
And I went there one time. I had a bad tooth. It was almost rotted to the gums.
Mhm.
And a guy, big dentist. I found out he was an all-American fullback at Stanford University. His name was Stanley, Norm Stanley.
did he play in the NFL later? Or?
No, they didn't have the NFL then.
Okay.
He was one of the all-Americans.
Wow.
And he took that tooth out and never felt a thing. He had wrists on like my calves. Hey, big guy, Norm Stanley, that was his name.
Norm Stanley.
Yeah.
What? Now this was in Texas, right, where you get the dental work at? Was
No, this is Camp Chaffee, Arkansas.
it? Okay.
The 2 armored divisions there.
Okay. So then after you had all your blacksmith training and of course Army basic training, how did you know? Did you know which way you were going in the war, whether Europe or?
We didn't know. We didn't know.
When did you find that out?
We figured that being in the heat down there in New Orleans, June, July, and August, they were going to send us to Alaska. Because that's how the Army was. If you're in the heat, you went to Alaska. If you're in Alaska, you went to the heat.
To be honest with you, I think they still run it that way sometimes.
Do they?
Yeah.
So-
when I was in, but anyway,
Yeah,
go ahead.
we had no idea where we were going. In fact, we really didn't know till we got between India and Hobart, Tasmania, where we were going to India. But
Okay.
where we were going, but we surmised we were going up Burma or up there someplace, you know.
Sure.
There were 5 regular battalions, and we were attached to heavy shot battalion. From Bucyrus, Ohio, was a 758 shot battalion.
Hmm.
We were attached to them for a while there.
Uh-huh.
And then we went, we had our end of our rail line was in Lido. That was where the Lido Road started.
So then, when you were shipping out of the States, you mentioned the ship you were on and how that voyage was.
Well, yeah, well, I'll tell you, the voyage wasn't bad. I never got seasick. But we had a colonel on there, and we got up someplace. We went all alone, no convoy. I forget what his name was. Anyway, they put us on picking up butts on a officer's deck up there. And I got up there with a fellow from Chicago. His name was Alan Gentleman. And I got up there and I says to him, I ain't picking up no damn butts. Let them officers throw in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sit by that lifeboat. So I went to sit by that lifeboat. Pretty soon I seen a pair of shiny shoes. Here's that colonel. We're picking up butts for a whole week.
Oh.
Anyway, they stopped in Hobart, Tasmania for more mutton and water. And we got there between Christmas and New Year's. And the natives opened up all the stores, whatever. And them GIs bought whatever they had. When they left there, whatever they had was probably empty because all we're getting is mutton on that boat.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a food strike on there.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't take that too good either, you know. But we found out, now I don't know if this is true or not, but we found out that later that colonel was supposed to be buying beef instead of mutton. So I don't know whether that was true or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we departed in Bombay, India, and we took a train and riverboat and train and riverboat to get to where we were going headed to.
So then, okay, I can't remember. Did you just mentioned that right after Tasmania you went right to India,
Yeah, right.
right? And
Yeah,
and you were, where did you get off and again?
Bombay.
Bombay. Okay. Did you get to see much of that city at all, or were you just?
No, not much. No.
Okay.
I think we didn't stay there. Maybe just one day only.
Okay.
But they put us right on the train.
Okay. And then where did
And
you?
then when we wound up, we were working with the Bengal and Assam Railway.
Okay.
That's who we work with. The people up there. We used to call them the Boston and Albany, but they call it the real name was the Bengal and Assam.
How did you work well with the people from India?
Nice, okay. You just didn't get involved in their politics, that's all.
Right.
Very poor nation.
Yeah.
People are, they're like, most of them are uneducated, but I don't know if it's any better now, and we didn't really like the British either. Because they figured we were overfed, oversexed, and overpaid. Yeah.
Yeah. Because weren't they part of the British Empire right then, or something like that?
No, it's not, no. They got their independence after the war.
But I mean, at that time you were there. They were
Yeah,
still,
yeah, oh yeah, they were still
Yeah.
part of British colonial empire, right?
So yeah, I know it was after the war when they got their independence.
Yeah,
But,
right.
yeah. So yeah.
Well, we got acquainted with some Indians over there, some of the natives that worked, some of them spoke English, some of them, we talked to them, but they'd understand you,
Okay.
We had one guy there, he was like the head guy of the people that cleaned all the brass on the engine, just call him Bobo. He had like a big beard,
Mm-hmm.
I got a picture of him and a friend of mine holding his beard. In fact, the guy that holding the picture with that Bobo, when we were in the States, he borrowed my shoes. He went to Schenectady, New York, and got married.
Oh.
but he passed away a couple of years ago.
Mm,
More than a couple of years ago.
well. Did you work with the British too there in India?
Not really. We were working probably for ourselves, you know.
Mhm.
Although we had, in fact, we shook hands with Lord Louis Mountbatten.
Okay.
Yeah, when we first got there. We had, when we got there, we had Vinegar Joe Stilwell. He was in charge of most of the Chinese army, and it seemed like he liked the Chinese better than he did the GIs. So we didn't kind of cotton to him either. Then they transferred him, then we were under, actually Lord Louis Mountbatten was a commander-in-chief, and then our next general was Dan Sultan. I think it was General Dan Sultan, S-U-L-T-A-N or something like that.
Now, Vinegar Joe Stilwell, he was an American, right?
Yes, he was.
And he was a general, right? He was
Yeah.
in charge of was he in charge of the American expeditionary force in that area?
Well, I think he was mostly the Chinese, but Chinese didn't Chiang Kai-shek and him didn't get along together, you know.
Oh, okay.
As far as from what we heard, but
Right.
he liked to be the boss of the Chinese.
Mm.
And he got his ass kicked over there in Burma, and he wound up in India. That's where he got wound up. You know?
When you mentioned that term right there, do you mean his unit got badly hit, or did he get physically hurt?
Did he win?
You mentioned that term, I can't say how you said it. Did he get himself hurt bad, or did his unit get hurt bad by the Japanese, and they had to move him?
No, I think he got pushed out of Burma by the Japanese.
Okay,
So,
all right. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
because they had Merrill's Marauders, I believe. They had an airport on Missional,
Mm-hmm.
and they took the airport from the Japanese, and they give it to the Chinese. The Chinese lost it back to the Japanese. Then the GIs had to go back there and get it back again.
Did they get it back?
Yeah, they got it back eventually. Of
Okay.
course, it cost them some people, you know.
Sure, yeah. So, all right. So you worked with the Indian, people. You worked with the Chinese a little bit, didn't you?
Not too much. Most of them owned restaurants over there, but which ones we knew, you know.
Okay. And of course, you had your own American unit too with you.
Yeah, right.
And then any other? I mentioned English. Not many English were with you.
Nah, we didn't cotton too much with the English.
Okay, but they were there, were they?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
They had Indian troops, English troops, Australian troops, South African troops.
Okay, all right.
They
Yeah.
had different nationalities.
How
In
was?
fact, our company, our battalion was in Diveagar, and we were attached to the 758 in Tinsukia, which was about 70 miles away from Diveagar.
So basically, you worked with people from India, China, Australian, South Africans.
Yeah.
Now, South Africans, they're basically white, right? They weren't too many
No,
black.
there were a lot of black.
Well, they were black? Oh, okay. All right, good. And then, of course, any Burmese people you worked with at all, or?
They might have been, well, we didn't know the difference over there, you know.
Okay. So, it's quite an interesting area you were in,
Yes,
actually.
Actually, that area is known for the best tea in the world, Assam.
Wow.
English tea plantations up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I guess they use the rail over there to ship a lot of tea to England, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they call it a certain name. I should know this because I took a India history class a few years ago, but I don't know it. But anyway, the answer is coming to me in a second here. Opium.
Oh yeah, a lot of opium.
Okay.
Well, we weren't really bothered by that over there at the time we were there.
Okay.
No, I think none of our guys ever got hung up on that stuff that I know of.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
fairly new that we knew
Well,
about
yeah,
this, so
that was a notorious triangle after a while between China, Burma, and India. They call that some type of dope triangle in there. I guess there's a lot of opium in there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I never got indulged in that stuff. I used to smoke,
Mhm.
but I quit in '83. So
Good for you.
yeah, we used to get them little cigarettes, them old golds, Lucky Strikes, Marlboro, and
Marlboro.
yeah, Marlboro, and 4 in a package, you know.
My father smoked Lucky Strikes for over 40 years,
Oh, did he?
and he developed lung cancer and emphysema too.
Yeah. Well, I smoked cigarettes, then I switched to pipe, then I smoked cigars, and I finally quit.
Well, like I said, good for you. All right, so now you mentioned earlier to me about trouble with the Japanese with the railroads. Tell us about that.
Well, I think the Japanese were frustrated that supplies are going to China over the Lido Road. And I think they knew that rail line in Impal, which was the closest to the Burmese border up there at that time, they cut the rail line there. They cut the supplies off the. Well, actually to General Chenault too. He was getting some of our stuff. Flying Tigers.
So what did you guys do when they cut the railroads? Did you have to have the infantry come in?
They weren't successful. The
Yeah.
British. The General Slim is the guy that beat them. In fact, I got a.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. We'll stop it. Go ahead. All right, we're back here with Mr. Jack. You have to say your last name again.
Rakoczy.
Rakoczy. I'll get it right for the end of the interview.
Just think of Nosy Rakoczy.
Okay, Jack Rakoczy. Again, we left off at the railroad thing where the Japanese cut it off, and right now I'm looking at a magazine he gave me. We're at Impal. Now, were you yourself at Impal?
No.
Okay, you were south of there in India.
No, we were northeast of there.
Northeast of there. Okay. Was it Kohima you were close to?
No, yeah, we're closer to Kohima, right.
Okay, and where did they cut the lines at again?
They did try, they didn't succeed in doing it.
Okay,
The General Slim beat them back, the British.
and General Slim is from the British side.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Okay, and you feel he was better than Stilwell or any of those other?
Well, I don't know, I didn't, you know.
I mean, as far as strategy goes, do you think he handled better?
Well, actually, I really think the whole purpose of our troops over there was to keep the Japanese occupied over there so they wouldn't go someplace else.
Yep.
That's what my thought was. Otherwise, you know,
I think you're pretty accurate on that too.
yes.
You really are. According to this map here, you were really close to Burma.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were.
Were you in Burma at one time?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went there. Yeah.
Okay, good. So anyway, did you hear any news about any other part of the war?
Well, we heard about the atomic bomb.
Okay, well that was later.
Yeah.
I mean earlier, like some of the battles in the Pacific.
Oh, yeah, we heard about like the Russians were gaining on the Germans, and
Okay.
when Eisenhower landed on St. Lo, D-Day, yeah, we heard all that.
Okay.
But we're all happy when they dropped the bomb.
We'll get to that later. But anyway, basically, when you heard that Germany was defeated, were you still in India, Burma area?
Yes, we were.
How did you all feel about that?
We felt real good.
Okay.
That we felt that now we could turn all our power on the Japanese.
Okay. Now at that time, did they send more troops to you yet from the American side or
No,
English
they
side?
didn't. No, they didn't. Everything was status quo there for a while.
Okay. Now this is 1945 we're talking now, early
Yeah, right.
45,
Yeah.
April, May, like that. And at that time, was that before the Battle of Leyte? Was it, or was it just, no, Leyte was the year before, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it
44.
was, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we're 1945 now. Actually, I'm sorry, let's go back to 44. When you heard about Leyte, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Well, I felt pretty good myself. I mean, at least we showed them, you know, what we're made of over there. Although we suffered as much as they did, but at least we turned the tide over there.
Sure. Now, General Douglas MacArthur, give me your honest opinion about him and how he handled things. Okay. You can say what you want to say.
Yeah, I didn't think he, in fact, I just read an article, I'm reading a book about World War II, and I think they warned MacArthur to store up some stuff because they were afraid the Japanese were going to come to the Philippines, and he didn't heed their suggestion. And I think he chickened out when he got on the PT boat, went to Australia. That's my thing. And then I had a friend of mine that was in, I think they were in the Marines, and they landed in the Philippines, and they were anti-aircraft batteries, and they had a sign, by the grace of God and a few Marines, MacArthur returned to the Philippines. And I guess he didn't take that too well.
Well, from what history has said, MacArthur was ordered by President Roosevelt to go to Australia.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's what they said. Yeah,
that's what they said. So I guess that's what we'll go by, but I appreciate your opinion, I really do.
Well,
You're not the only one that said that as veterans, though, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, I didn't serve under him, but from some of the stuff I read, just like in the Korean War, he wanted to go gung-ho over there to, North Korea, but he did a good job on that Incheon invasion,
Sure.
and that was a good thing
Sure.
he did there, yeah. Well, I guess the guy tried, whatever.
Well, we'll get back to Korean War too. We'll stand on the war you were involved in for now.
Yeah.
So anyway, General MacArthur. We're in say May, June 1945. Did you hear about the Battle of Okinawa when you were?
Yes, I did, yeah.
All right. That was the last major battle of the war. Just
Right.
tell me how you felt about it, what you heard about it.
Well, that was a tough one too for the Marines over there, and I'm glad they won.
Yeah.
Another victory for the United States.
Yep. Okay, now you were still in the India, China, Burma area when the big bomb was dropped, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay. When did that news get to you, and how did everybody feel about it?
I don't know, must have got to us the day after, a couple of days after. Everybody was happy. They figured, but they were happier when they dropped the second one.
Okay. Why is that?
That was two big disasters for Japan, we figured. And a lot of the thinking was that if we invaded the islands, we'd have a heck of a time getting in with all them people there. So that saved a lot of GI's bacon.
I can actually say on record too, and I said it in my interview, that I wouldn't be here, neither would my son, today, because my dad would have been hitting the shores himself as a Navy Seabee.
Yeah, right.
Very, very possible. Were you guys kind of shocked, and maybe I shouldn't say terrified, but very shocked as they finally had a bomb that could destroy a whole city?
Well, we knew they were working on a big bomb. You could hear like that experiment in Los Alamos, New Mexico. They were cooking something over there. We didn't know how powerful it was.
Were you all surprised it was that powerful?
Yeah, right. Obliterated almost the whole town, whole city.
When the second one was dropped, finally they got the word all out that Japan had surrendered. Tell me about that, when you got the news.
Oh man, we were jumping for joy. Everybody was. I think we all got drunk that day. They give us a couple days off.
Everybody?
Yeah, We used to get a beer over there after a little while, and we'd trade the beer to the English for whiskey. The beer was some beer from New Orleans, I think the name of it was Indian Head Beer. And that tasted like chalk. And the English liked it, so we trade them. Not all the time, every once in a while. Yeah.
Sure.
I did befriend one English sergeant major. His name was Pring, P-R-I-N-G, and he was in charge of the Indian candy dancers, the ones that took the railroad, the ties and the gravel and all that.
Mhm.
I did befriend him. But then I used to go to his place for breakfast once in a while, get duck eggs, you know. And one time we got in an argument about the navies. The British Navy was the best. I told him bullshit, the American Navy's the best. And we never got along after that. And
So-
he had a pet monkey, and that thing was kind of, you know,
Mhm.
if you got too close to it, it's just like a dog. I guess.
Bite you?
Oh yeah, that was, yeah.
What kind of monkey was it?
I don't know. But one time we were overseas, there was a colony of monkeys, and one of the guys tried to catch one of them little ones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they took a K-ration box with a stick under it, with a string on it, put a banana down there, and they went a ways away. They figured that little monkey comes to get the banana, don't pull the stick and catch him under that box, see?
Mm-hmm.
Well, them little monkeys were looking and looking, pretty soon the old lady, the monkey, she got the banana, and we didn't get her either.
That is funny.
Yeah.
So when the war ended, did you celebrate with all the people that were over there? India's?
Oh yeah.
Burmese,
yeah.
Chinese,
Well, mostly
English?
are holy. In fact, that heavy battalion we were attached to, they were part of our. In fact, we had part of their area there where we were stationed with them in tents there.
Okay.
So, and then we had it pretty good. We had tents and cots and mosquito netting. You didn't have to sleep. Well, one time, I'll tell you what. One time when we first got over there, we used to hang our muskets in the trees. And somehow or another, they told us that there were Japanese infiltrators, GIFs they called them. They'd sneak up behind our lines, and you'd go for your musket, they'd pick you off. So they told us not to put our muskets in the trees, put them in your duffel bag. So one morning I was going to breakfast. A friend of mine, his name was Mike Trangone from Jersey City, New Jersey. I says to him, hurry up, Mike, the lines are getting longer. Let's go for breakfast. He says, he just stood there like he was paralyzed. And then I kind of got back around him, I seen a cobra on his back. A hood like that, yeah. And then our platoon sergeant was coming by, he says, what's going on, Jack? I said, I don't know, but I don't like it. And he looked around and said, he took his 45 and he shot the damn thing. So after that, I got me a bamboo stick about that long. Every time I opened that duffel bag, I beat the hell out of it, make sure there ain't any snakes in there.
I can't blame you one bit for that. Now, I've heard stories from Vietnam veterans about cobras too.
Oh yeah.
And they've of course shot him when they're in the way or something like that, or get near him or whatever. So he actually shot him in the back, and,
Yeah.
and killed him with one shot? did
Yeah, he killed him with one shot, got him right to the,
he? Okay.
And then we were kind of afraid to get him out of there, I think we took a stick or something, fished him out to make sure he was dead. Then there was another snake they called the cripe over there. It wasn't very big. And the Australians used to tell you, if black touches yellow, it can kill a fellow. And this snake with a black and yellow markings, that was a cripe. I think it's K-R-Y-P-E. It ain't as big as a cobra, but it's deadly.
Wow. No, they got a lot of poisonous snakes in that area.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Not just the cobra like you said, but a lot of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Did you ever see any Burmese pythons at all over there?
No, never. Oh yeah, we did once.
Yeah.
We were, I think they were trying to fix a span across that bridge over there. And it was like sand, and there was a big nest there. Python nest.
Mm-hmm.
And them GIs didn't know what the heck to do with it. So we heard one of the lieutenants got a bulldozer, and he put the blade down and pinched her right up against that Sven abutment, and that's how they killed her.
Nest and all, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you wouldn't dare go near that damn thing,
No, and I've known some people here.
That's the only one I ever heard of,
I know some people in America, even a guy I worked with years ago, he had a pet Burmese python right in his house.
Oh,
So whatever, it's whatever you want to do, I guess.
yeah, whatever turns you on, I guess.
Basically, yeah. I mean,
Snakes don't turn me on, period.
no, I'm one of those with you too.
Yeah.
So anyway, here we are. But before the atomic bomb was dropped, did all of you feel that you were going to actually go to Japan someday soon? Being in the
Well,
army?
we didn't feel that. No, we figured we figured we'd stay where we were.
Okay.
Because I think that would keep them troops there instead of going back to Japan.
Okay.
That's what my logic was. That's what our logic was anyway.
Okay. So they still had the troops
Yeah, right.
in China area. Okay.
We figured, we thought maybe they'd just cut them off,
Mhm.
you know, between their supply and the Japanese troops in Burma.
Mhm.
That's what we thought. That's what we were doing. They're jumping them islands and cutting them bases off.
Mhm. So there was no anxiety of any of you guys thinking
we
you're going to go to
No,
Japan,
we weren't. No.
even if we would have had to do it the conventional way instead of before the
Yeah.
bombs were dropped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't really like them, but one time after the war ended, we had a couple train loads of POWs
Mhm.
come from that. I think they came from the River Kwai.
Okay.
Australian, English, some South Africa, and their damn wrists were big as my finger.
Wow.
I mean, they were real emaciated, real skinny.
Mm.
That's why I kind of didn't like them, but after I seen that, I hated them more. I still don't like them.
You mean the Japanese?
Yeah.
Mm.
I figure Toyota is a Japanese car. Oh, it's made in America, yeah, but the money goes to Japan.
It's got the name.
Yeah.
Okay, now, the war was over with. When did you finally get the orders to come back to the States? Was it almost immediately, or was it soon after, or a little bit after?
Nah, it wasn't immediately. I think in fact, we were sent down to Kanchrapara, camp outside of Calcutta, to wait for a ship to take us to the United States. Well, the first ship that came in was British. So apparently they figured they got the right away. So they went. Well, it happened to them, they got, I think in the Straits of Malaysia, they hit a mine and blew up that damn boat. So we're glad we didn't go.
Yeah.
But then I think we were in that Kanchrapara about 3 weeks, and we finally got the Marine Robin to take us. And we took what they call the Great Circle Route. We went by up the Pacific Ocean, near the coast of Japan. We could see Mount Fujiyama through field glasses.
Oh, wow.
And just before we got there, I think we got the tail end of a typhoon.
Mm.
Just a real rough seas, you know.
Mhm.
And when we went over, I practically starved to death. You know, they had hot dogs marked 1937, United States Department of Agriculture. And we went over 43. Anyway, when we got on the Marine Robin, they wanted volunteers for a different job. So I volunteered, what the heck was it? For the fruit locker, whatever the fruit locker. They had oranges, bananas, grapefruits and stuff.
Mhm.
And a petty officer told us, no, he said, you guys can eat, but don't try to feed the whole damn ship because we'll run out of food. We take oranges and grapefruits and bananas and stick them under our shirt, and we trade the guy in the bakery division or the guy in the meat division, and we ate like kings.
Bet that was a real good feeling, wasn't it?
Yes, and then when we got to Spokane, Washington, went to Fort Lewis, they had German prisoners of war working in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
You know. In fact, when we got there, they were giving everybody one pork chop, nice thick one, you know.
Mhm.
And I grabbed that damn fork, I took me another one, I took two of them. And the GI behind me did the same thing, and then that mess started to come out of there. Boy, he said something to them in German, boy, they just listened up.
Well, what else could they do? They're prisoners too.
Well, and after I I don't know, we were there probably about 3 weeks or 2 weeks anyway. They put us on the Burlington Northern Rail Line. Went to Chicago. We were in a passenger car, had kerosene lamps hanging on it yet. We got to Chicago, Pennsylvania Railroad wouldn't pull that car because it had that old-fashioned thing. So they switched cars. I lost my duffel bag. I had clothes in there. I don't know what happened to it. I never got it back in Atterbury. And all I got out of there was my jacket, my what's it called, jacket and sweater and socks maybe. And anyway, yeah, that's all we got. Anyway, by the time we got from Chicago to Atterbury end, and the damn engine blew a fuse. And we had to sit on the damn siding there for I don't know how long till they heard they're worrying about an old car went almost across the whole United States.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. So you never found that duffel bag again?
No, never found it. Never got it back.
What did you all have in it? Just your military
Well, I
clothes?
had some personal stuff that I brought home with me.
Oh, okay.
But I had some like souvenirs in there. But whatever happened to it, I think they just took it and distributed it to the supply places, you know. But I did have pants, shirt, socks in my what you call it, my army jacket, you know.
Did you have letters in there at all?
No, I don't think so. Well, my grandma couldn't write English, you know, and she swapped both. But when I read her letter, two of the neighbor girls would come over there and tell her what I was writing about, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you got back home, we'll get more into your personal life. When did you meet your future wife, and when did you get married?
Well, I met her at a dance in Jumbo Park Pavilion. Probably 47, maybe 48. We got married April the 23rd, 1949.
Okay.
68 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That- So then, how many children do you have?
One boy.
One boy.
Yeah. He worked for the Department of Natural Resources. He graduated from Michigan State.
Oh, okay. All right.
MSU, yeah.
Well, so you're big Spartan fans, are you?
Oh yeah, well, they don't monkey with that too much anymore. My son, when he got married in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he met his wife at Michigan State. They got married in Pittsburgh. Her uncle was a Catholic priest. He married her.
I'm sorry, what was your son's name? What is your son's name?
Gerald Paul.
Gerald Paul. Okay.
Gerald Paul.
You have any grandchildren?
No.
Okay.
Just dogs. They're like dogs, black labs.
Okay. Dogs are nice companions. I have them too.
All right.
So, okay. So then you said you worked for Pere Marquette. Where did you continue your
My blacksmith apprenticeship.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I wound up on working with a guy by the name of George Kempsel on a tool fire.
Okay.
He made a lot of tools that the late people used for cutting steel, you know, which was quite an art, you know. Yeah, that was a good job. If it hadn't been for him, he wanted me to go to college and take up metallurgy. That's what he wanted me to do.
Okay.
Well, I couldn't leave my grandma. I mean, she raised me, so I figured I owe her something back, you know.
Sure. Oh yeah. What about your mother?
Well, she never married. She never married. Just, you know, went off on her own. She stayed in town, though. I'd see her occasionally. She'd come and visit me when I went to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you basically weren't really that close to her then?
Nah, not really. I should have been, but I wasn't. I don't know why. I just probably had a bone of contention with her leaving me with my grandma. You know. My grandma, I think she adopted me when I was about 4.5 or 5 years old.
Oh, she officially did?
Yeah.
Okay. And you never met your grandpa either, did you?
He died. He died 1950.
Oh, okay. Way before you were born.
And then I had an uncle that died too. And then I had see, Lena, Jane, Seal, and Goldie, 4 aunts. One was a Notre Dame nun, and the other 3 were married.
Okay.
Notre Dame nun, she was a nun for 70-some years.
Wow. It's pretty good.
You
So, so then it was all in Grand Rapids you came back to, right?
Yes. So,
Okay. Now, you mentioned the Korean War. Tell me what you thought of that. When you being a serviceman, tell me what you thought of that whole thing.
well, I suppose, we were on the right track over there. I think they were probably thinking that if that goes communist, it's going to do the whole Far East,
Sure.
So I thought that was but the only thing there, that them Chinese intervened, that kind of lost the thing. There's still trouble over there,
You mentioned MacArthur about that war. Tell me about if it was a yay or nay thing, what he was doing.
Well, it was a yay thing up until he started talking about crossing the Yalu River over there. The Chinese could keep sending troops right at you day and night, and you could keep killing them, they still keep coming. Because they had enough over there and they didn't kill them.
Sure. How do you feel those veterans felt after the Korean War? Did you know any veterans from the Korean War?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I see few in the casino from Vietnam War mark.
Sure.
Once in a while you see a Korean veteran.
Yeah.
In fact, a good friend of mine was a Korean. He was in the Navy over there. No.
So, all right, now, getting towards the Cold War era, more in the 1950s and early 1960s. How did you feel the United States was doing towards relations with the Soviet Union and how they handled themselves?
I think they did well. I think Kennedy did the right thing when he told them Russians to get the hell out of Cuba. That's my opinion.
How did this area feel about knowing about them missiles down there in Cuba? Did everybody think they're going to go to war again, or what? How did everybody feel?
Well, could be food for thought, seeing they were putting them down there.
So, now we'll get to, of course, the Vietnam War. Generally speaking, just say how you felt about it.
Well, I think they should have went full blast over there instead of going half-cocked myself. I think they could have defeated Ho Chi Minh. In fact, I just read a book here some time ago. I think they said they couldn't hold out for another 2 months and that was it. Of course, we didn't know that.
Right, yeah.
And then I feel sorry for those guys, like I said. We knew who to shoot at if we had to shoot at them, and they didn't, because you could go in them villages, they could have an AK-47 under them saris,
Sure.
You never know, In fact, that's happened probably over there.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of things more horrible than that happened too.
And them guys went through hell over there too. Like our guys went to Marauders in Burma. All that damn heat, and mud and rain, monsoons over there, mosquitoes.
Yeah. Because Burma's really not that far from Vietnam.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I mean, it is a ways, but not that far.
No, same kind of climate there.
Yeah, sure. When the veterans of Vietnam came back in '75, when it was officially over with, our involvement over there, why do you think they were treated the way they were in Vietnam?
Because they figured they lost the war over there. That's the reason I think that the American Legion wouldn't accept them at that time.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, right. And my personal feeling was, I'm glad they're home. Who cares,
Yeah.
We lost enough guys over there anyway, for nothing.
Yeah.
Really.
Sure. Also, when you see any Oriental people, even though they're Americans, how do you feel?
Oh, I am, no. The only ones I don't like are Japanese. I got nothing against the Chinese, the Vietnamese, or the Hong Kong, or wherever else.
Okay. So anyway, getting back to more of the Cold War stuff, getting more towards the 80s and 90s, how did you feel we handled that towards the end of the Cold War?
Well, I don't know. I think they handled it pretty good myself.
Mhm.
I don't know what this guy's gonna do,
Right.
you know.
Well, we'll get into this guy in a minute.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but Desert Storm, how did you feel about that?
No comment. I mean, they did what they had to do,
Mhm.
to my thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
George Bush Sr. promised it wasn't going to be another Vietnam. Do you think he
Yeah,
fulfilled that promise?
Yeah, I think he did. Well, we're tied up in what you call now, in Iran, or
Right.
Iraq, I mean.
Yeah.
That
So-
ain't good either, you know.
And then, of course, later after, how did you feel about 9/11? Just where were you at when that happened? And
You know what? We're in Mount Pleasant in the casino. And I don't know if we went up to get a beer or something, we seen a hole, something, you know.
Mhm.
And bartender and everybody's looking, that's when they crashed into that building in New York.
Sure.
Really surprised. We didn't know if the pilot had a pilot error or what, you
Mhm.
know, and after a while they crashed into it, you know, purposely.
Mhm. Did you think it was going to be like another Pearl Harbor? We're going to go into a big war? What did
No,
you feel?
I didn't think so.
Did you think the disaster was comparable to Pearl Harbor?
No, I don't think so. It was bad, but I mean, it wasn't bad as Pearl Harbor.
No.
We lost a lot of people over there.
Mainly on 9/11 was mainly civilian targets.
Yeah, right, yeah.
However, the Pentagon was said.
Yeah, right.
Did that surprise you at all that they even tried that?
Yeah, it did, yeah, it did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Being the sound structure it is, I've been to the Pentagon. I was very surprised at what are you trying for, but why do you think they try to go for the Pentagon?
I don't know. I have no idea. In fact, when I took that trip to Washington with that honor flight, they took us by that area that got damaged by that suicide plane there. Yeah.
What did it look like?
Well, it's all fixed up. It's all repaired.
Okay. Then, of course, the Iraq and Afghanistan thing. How do you feel towards that?
Well, I don't know. I figure myself they should fight their own wars over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can help them, you
Right.
know, up to a point, but I don't see sticking our guys over there.
Right. Do you feel that we were justified in trying to clean out the terrorist camps and everything?
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
helping them that way. Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to what you did in your service or anything like that?
Well, funny thing happened to us in Hobart, Tasmania. We were walking down the sidewalk, and the kid that was walking was an Allen gentleman from Chicago, Illinois. And a little Australian kid come and he says, "Hey, mate, you got a cigarette?" Alan said, "Yeah, I got a cigarette." So he gave him a cigarette. And he said, "Hey, you got a cigarette for my sister?" So I give him a cigarette. So he says to Alan, he says, "Where you from, mate?" Alan said, "Chicago." The kid kind of backed away. He said, "Do you pack a rock?" He's thinking of them gangsters in Chicago.
Oh.
I got the biggest kick out of it.
I bet. That is a funny story.
Yeah, we went a couple of times to a reunion in Chicago, and he was there. Yeah, I mentioned that. He remembered that. Yeah.
Do you have any more reunions at all?
Yes, we had one in Niagara Falls, one in Rhode Island, one in Nashville, Tennessee, and one in New Orleans, two of them in Chicago. What else is it? Oh, Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay. And that's your former unit?
Yeah.
Former battalion, was it? Or?
Yeah. Well, the first reunion we had, I think 210 people, and the last one we had 87.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we understand what's happening, unfortunately. As you know, my connection to the USS Indianapolis survivors and stuff, and you told me before that you knew the two survivors from Grand Rapids, and so tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Well, he lived down the street from me when I lived on the west side.
And who's that?
Joe Malsky.
Okay.
He, like I say, his dad owned a body shop.
Mm-hmm.
He had one sister and two brothers.
Okay.
And we never knew that I never knew he was on Indianapolis till after the war. My wife knew his wife
Okay,
from high school.
okay.
That's how we got to talking to him.
Did he ever mention anything about the Indy at all?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all, huh?
I think that's bad memory for him.
Yes, it was. Fact is, it took years. A friend of mine, Dick Thalen, was also interviewed by myself and another professor at Grand Valley. Said he didn't talk about it until 20, 25 years after that.
Yeah, right.
Now, all the survivors, most of them I've met, will just tell you the whole story.
Yeah, right.
And that's that way with any type of wartime situation or personal experience like that, too.
Right.
Now, did you ever meet Bill Mulvey, the other survivor?
I went to school, high school with him.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, I think that gang from St. Alphonsus, there was a Fred Raw, Mulvey, a couple other guys that came to Davis Tech. They had a lot of Hollanders and a lot of Polacks over there. They had a,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a vocational school, very good school.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're crying about people that don't know a screw from a bolt. Yeah, I had a friend of mine that worked for Daisy BB Gun Company down in Diveagar.
Mm-hmm.
They sent that someplace in Arkansas. They weren't there very long. The guy would send a guy over to get some screws. He'd come back with bolts. He didn't know the difference between a screw and a bolt.
Wow.
But we had a good education there. In fact, I took auto mechanics there
Mm-hmm.
for most of the time I was there.
Wow.
A real good school. I liked it.
Wow.
The good teachers, all.
Well, tell me about your relationship with Bill Mulvey, survivor of
Well,
Indianapolis.
all I know is just know him from high school.
Okay.
I think he graduated the same year I did. And I haven't seen him since.
Okay, you never saw him even after the war?
No,
right?
I didn't. No.
Okay, yep. He passed away 7 years ago.
Yeah, I know he did. Yeah,
Yep,
I remember that, yeah.
So, yep.
So did my other buddy, that Fred Rao.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, his son, and I think my son, had their tonsils out at the same time, just Fred Rao.
Okay. Oh. All right, couple more things I'll get into here. I always get with everybody I interview, okay? Veterans. Now, I feel that the president, the commander-in-chief, is the one that really pulls the string. Him and the Department of Defense, of course, had Secretary of Defense, and of course some generals, but I feel it starts at the top.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask you, from presidents on down, when you're in the service till now, how you feel that they ran the military. I'd ask you not to get into too much personal thing, but just your professional view on how they ran the military. And I'm going to start with Franklin Roosevelt. How do you think he ran the military?
I think he ran it good.
Okay.
Civil service that they started. I know myself.
Okay. President Truman.
He did good. I think President Truman did.
Okay.
Didn't he integrate the blacks and the whites?
Yep, 1947.
That's right.
Did you like that at all?
It
Seriously?
didn't bother me.
Okay. Did you have?
As long as you got somebody on your back, you ain't worried.
Yeah. What does it matter? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Now, did you?
Their blood's the same color as mine.
It is. Yeah. Now, what about in the military? They were still segregated. Did you have any black soldiers from America nearby?
Yeah, we had, well, they weren't nearby. They were port battalions down in Calcutta.
Okay.
Unloading supplies.
Okay.
And then we had the Red Ball Express that went from the Lido Road to Chongqing, China, hauling supplies. They had blacks driving the big 6x6.
Okay. And they probably did the job pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
How were they actually treated? Do you know?
Not too good.
Yeah.
I don't think so. They had, I remember they had one black that shot his commanding officer right across the desk with a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And they hung him over there.
Yeah. And I assume he was
Now,
probably
I think the guy was a southerner. I don't know if he was.
the commander. You mean?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And he was white,
Yeah,
obviously.
the guy, no, this black shot him.
No, I know.
The guy was white.
The commander was. Yeah.
Right.
I know it was a black that shot him. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of rough times for people back then.
I still think they got it rough, yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta feel sorry for them.
But the thing of it is we've made a lot of progress since then.
See, now the Indians are taking care of themselves.
Right.
The government didn't help them for 100 years, now they're taking care of their own people with their money from the casinos.
Sure. Yep.
I always tell people, The white man took the Indians' land, the Indians buying it all back with the white man's money.
Okay, back to the original thing. Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I never met him, but I think he was a good commander.
Okay.
I never heard anything. The only thing I remember of, he had some guy from Detroit that apparently went AWOL or something, and they had him shot in World War II. As an example for desertion.
How do you feel when he was president as commander-in-chief towards the military?
He did all right, I guess. I didn't pay much attention to that then. I had got married and I had to work and
Sure.
did a lot of fishing, you know, took my kids fishing a lot. And, so,
John F. Kennedy.
very good. I like John. First Catholic president of the United States.
That's not the only reason why you liked him, though, is it?
No. I think he did a bang-up job, you know. Sorry to see him pass away, you know.
Yes, it was very... A couple of his history professors at Grand Valley told me the two most tragic events in American history is when Lincoln was shot and Kennedy was shot.
Yeah.
Like that. But anyway, Lyndon Johnson, how do you think he handled the military, commander-in-chief?
I guess he did all right. He was head of that deal in Vietnam there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But who knows, you know? I don't know how the GIs that were in Vietnam thought about him, you know. I suppose a lot of kids that got drafted didn't think too much of him, you know.
Yeah. Richard Nixon, military-wise, towards the military.
I don't know. I don't, you know. I didn't follow him after that.
Gerald Ford, our hometown.
Ford was all right.
Yeah.
I never voted for him, but he was okay.
You sound like my parents over in Ionia. They were strong Democrat, and they,
Yeah, right.
even though he's from this area, helped this area a lot, they still didn't vote for
We
him.
used to get Christmas cards from him.
Sure.
Gerald
Yeah.
Ford,
I always felt that Ford did more for this nation as a
I think he
representative.
did. Yeah, I think he did after history proved it, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, but too little, too late, you know, for him.
Jimmy Carter.
I don't know. Carter was, you know, wishy-washy. Bush was all right, senior Bush, but the junior Bush, I didn't think too much of junior Bush.
You gotta go back a little bit farther. Ronald Reagan.
He was okay. Even he was a Republican, he had a Democratic Congress,
Sure.
but he got along with them all right.
But as far as the military, handling the military.
Well, I guess he did okay.
Sure. He was my big commander-in-chief.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, George Sr. with Desert Storm.
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah.
And Bill Clinton.
Clinton was okay. I like Bill Clinton.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think he actually handled the military pretty good
I think he did.
from what he knew and stuff?
I suppose, yeah.
And then George W. Bush,
The old man?
the young man.
Oh, I
George
didn't
W.
care too much for him. I think he jumped the gun on that weapons of mass destruction, to my knowledge, you know.
You think that he was well justified in activating the military after 9/11?
Well, that was, yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Barack Obama, how do you think he
I
handled the
think he was a
military?
good president, myself, right.
Do you think he handled the military the way he should?
I think he did.
Okay.
I think he did.
And of course, it's too soon to say or whatever. And how do you think Trump is doing so far as military?
Well, he wants to build a military, so I don't know what's gonna happen with that budget thing he's got, you know.
Sure. Mhm.
So maybe he's looking after him, you know.
Sure.
And I hope the guys that got hurt in that, get collecting pensions, and I hope they keep getting it, you know, because they
Sure.
need it, you know. I don't need it, but
Yeah.
I go to the VA.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. He sounds like he's a good friend of the veterans right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So,
Once he changes color, you know.
You never can tell politics.
I know.
As you know more than I do. Yeah. So anyway, out of all those presidents I've mentioned, who do you think was the best commander-in-chief that you saw?
I think FDR.
FDR? Okay. Yep, I think it was my dad, and a lot of World War II vets felt that too. They liked Truman though too,
Oh, I like Truman, yeah.
but they said FDR was there for him
Yeah.
for the Great Depression and World War II. It was kind of like a lot of historians said that Lincoln was the man that we needed for the Civil War. Washington, the first president, we needed him then, former Revolutionary War general,
right.
of course. Kennedy was definitely somebody that was
in
in
the right
there
place at the
at the right time. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, anything else to add, Jack, to all this, or?
Well, I don't know anything else to tell you.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say again, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to say, oh, we do have one more thing, but I'll say one thing quick. We're all proud of you for your service.
Well, thank you.
We really are.
You too.
Because, okay, you're welcome, but without you, I wouldn't have had a chance being in the military either, and I wouldn't have had that chance at all. Without you, they call you the greatest generation. Do you think that's well justified?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
As
Tom
people,
Brokaw, right?
yep, Tom Brokaw, yep. I even call my mother greatest generation because she lived through that too, and so
I read a book by Tom Brokaw, different
Sure.
military people had it.
okay. Are you a sports fan? You like the Tigers?
Yeah, I like the Tigers.
The Tigers won the World Series in 1945 over the Cubs. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Were you overseas when that happened?
Yeah.
Did they tell you the news about it, or
Yeah, we heard it on the radio, I think.
did you? Okay,
Yeah.
my dad did too,
Yeah.
over in Guam.
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel? Were you kind of in a rivalry with other Cubs fans from Chicago, or were you just
Well,
listening to
Alan Gentleman, he wasn't near me, so we
Uh-huh.
did, you know. I think our contingent was, I think there was 28 of us that were
Okay.
attached to the heavy shop company.
Mm-hmm.
We had Antonio Reyes, he was a Latino, Frank Laurel, Jack Peretta, Dominic Lazzarelli, Joe Cartellone. We had Ralph Capelli, we had like 7 or 8 Italians. And then we had some Irish and couple Polacks, Al Raska from St. Louis, Missouri.
Sure. Now, Hank Greenberg, you probably remember
Oh
him.
yeah. Oh,
Famous home run hitter of the Tigers.
yeah.
He came back just in time to help win that World Series.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he came back from the war too.
Yeah, right.
Just like Joe DiMaggio,
Yeah.
Bob Feller,
Yeah.
Ted Williams, all
Ted
them.
Williams, yeah.
Yep. I actually met Bob Feller myself, but anyway, basically, did it give you bragging rights in the service that your baseball team won the World Series?
Not really. In fact, we had a baseball team, our outfit, and they played the heavy shop battalion that we were attached to.
Uh-huh.
And I think they won that game 1-0.
Oh, wow.
We had a guy from, his name was Pennypecker. Forget where he was from. He was a good pitcher. In fact, he said something, he could have turned pro. He was in our outfit.
Sure.
I don't know how in the hell he got in the railroad outfit, but he was in our outfit.
Okay, one thing I forgot to ask you, you mentioned before the interview. Tell me about your boxing career.
Well, I boxed here in the Golden Gloves in '42, and I lost my first fight to an Indian by the name of Amos Spree. The next year I went back, and I trained for a couple weeks at the Wesley Ramey, who was an uncrowned lightweight champion of the world at one time.
Mm-hmm.
He fought Tony Canzoneri, who was a lightweight champion in Grand Rapids, and he beat him decisively, and he never got a title fight after that.
Wow.
Anyhow, I trained with Marconi Club, Italian. My one trainer was Tommy Russiello and Jackie Ola. Well, they opened the gym early, and it was on the west side, not too far from where I live, on Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
J.C. Miller, they made chemicals. So I stayed with them for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. Then I went on Marconi Club. I went to Marconi Club. And the next year, which was the war, '43, they didn't have enough people in the open division. The open division was if you had 2 fights, you got in the open division. I only had 1 fight. Then they stuck me in the open division. So I beat 5 guys, and I was supposed to go to Chicago for the final, for the nationals, and never made it. I got inducted April 23rd.
Mm.
Then I went to service, and I had a couple of boxing bouts on the ship going overseas, which I won. And then I had about 4 or 5 fights up there in Assam, and then I qualified to go down to Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had 3 or 4 fights down that I won. I lost the last fight on the TKO. And to me, it was all rigged because when the referee, his name was Major Hortensi, and he stopped the fight, that guy hit me with a good left hook. No, I knew what was going on. And he stopped the fight, oh, matter in hell. I call him a SOB. Anyway, that was the end of that.
Was it? Who was your favorite boxer?
I like Joe Louis.
Joe Louis?
Yeah, I like Joe Louis.
Quite an inspiration for this nation, actually, at that time. You know
He was, yes, he was.
When he was getting ready to, Max Schmeling beat him bad the first one.
Yes.
How did you feel towards that? How did you feel towards when he was going to fight him again? Yourself? How did
Well, I
you feel?
figured he was going to whip him. I figured that. We were standing on the corner one time. You know, we had a radio. We listened to the fights on the radio. And there was about 5 or 6 of us standing on the corner. The goddamn motorcycle cop come by. They used to patrol that street there once. Somebody ran over one of the guy's toes of the damn motorcycle. Anyway, we were discussing it. And I was really happy because Max Schmeling was, you know, supposed to be the Superman, you know.
Sure.
But do you know that Max Schmeling paid for Joe Louis's funeral?
He did. I know that. He helped out Joe Louis. They became friends years
Yes,
later.
he did, yes.
And actually, I remember reading about Max Schmeling that, because, you know, of course, Hitler used that, and of course the 36 Olympics, you know, but Jesse Owens,
right.
another
Jesse Owens,
black
right.
American, showed him up there too,
Yeah, right.
before Joe Louis.
Yeah.
And it was the time they were building up their army, but
Yeah,
this brought this nation together, both those guys too, a black American.
yeah, right.
Black Americans right there too. And my dad was a fan of Joe Louis too.
Yeah, I like
And
Joe Louis.
and then he was like, he was hoping like anything to have him beat Max Schmeling.
I got an album downstairs, a lot of boxers in it.
Wow. But anyway, with Max Schmeling, they all tried to link him to Hitler, but he made a statement and said, "I've met him once, and Hitler's a politician."
Yeah,
He did serve in the German army,
yeah,
but
I did.
actually he only died not maybe 10 years ago. Schmeling did.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, him and Joe Louis unfortunately died penniless, and it was
Yeah,
pretty
he did.
sad.
Yeah, he did.
But-
Them 2 managers, he had took him to the cleaner.
Pretty
And
much.
so did his first wife.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, you think Joe Louis and Jesse Owens was an inspiration for this nation?
Oh, I would
in
think so.
those times,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would think so.
sure.
And Muhammad Ali was good too. I like Muhammad Ali.
He wasn't my favorite growing up, but you know what? I really liked the guy. He did a lot and everything like that. But this isn't a story about me right here. But my favorite was George Foreman. But anyway, yeah, he did. Both those boxers did a lot, not for this nation in boxing, but for pretty much almost the whole
Yeah, I had a
world.
laugh when they told him about that induction. He said, "I ain't got nothing against the Viet Cong." He said.
That is kind of funny, and he did real well with that too.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah. But anyway, again, do you have anything else to add? Any of this?
Well, I don't know. Ain't had any bad luck so far.
And you're 93 right now, right?
Huh?
You're 93 years old,
Yep,
and you've been married to your wife how long?
68 years.
68 years. Very congratulations. I hope you two make it to your 70th.
I'll try.
And
I'm trying. That's what I told my doctor. He says I'm doing great. I'm type 2 diabetic too, you know.
oh, okay. So,
But I exercise every day but Saturday, so I'm doing good. I had my AC last year was 7.1. I got it back down to 6.5. So
wow. Okay. Well, again, thank you very much for letting us interview, and again,
You're
thank you
welcome.
very much for your service. We're all proud of you and everybody from that generation.
okay.
And basically, that's it. Thank you.
All right.